I'm going to let you look at some signs. But hey, how's it going? Okay, just want to make sure that none of this radio is leaking through, trying to get me in trouble. But I still want to be able to hear it. And, whoa. This is probably going to be a long one, so gird yourself if you... Just telling you, I'm expecting it to do that. And I know I say that a lot and it doesn't go anywhere near as long as I think it's going to. However, today's been all over the place, but not in any kind of bad way. It's just been surprising and like interesting. Like Pee Wee Herman passed, and that makes me sad because he was a hometown guy, and I actually have been able to he was one of the people kind enough to share his swimming pool in that blazing hell of LA. So, there's just so many reasons to love the guy for me, but, God bless him. I haven't found the details of why he passed. I'll probably take a look at that later. And then, lots of cool birthdays and stuff. So it's like, and it's actually not terrible that Paul Rubens passed. That's Pee Wee Herman. If you don't know, his actual name is Paul Rubens. And because he was here and he gave so much to people, and he served well for himself and everybody else. So bravo, guy. Okay, and the other thing was, as usual, I'm all confused about my own schedule. I thought I had to see the doctor today, but I kept looking at the date and not realizing that the 6 had turned into a 7, so I thought it was going, but I'm not. That's okay. But I had to rearrange my schedule, just rearrange it, because I try to ride my little machine every day, but I don't know what I did yesterday, but I re-injured my injury again, and I don't have I can't take any of the painkillers that I have in my house because they're NSAID. So and I don't have anything else except for my sacrament. So I made myself a butter pot of oatmeal, and I'm trying to hurry up and do this before it hits me, because I'm not probably going to be able to make sense afterwards. But I know that ingesting the stuff rather than smoking it is going to make my shoulder feel a lot better. So anyway, that out of the way. Oh my God, I ended up pulling so many cards. So I don't know how this is going to go. It seems like a lot for me, but, and then I did it again. I pulled a card that I've pulled recently, and I was like, I don't want to do this one again, but I pulled it back out. I did the same thing. I did the same thing with my local ballot, because I looked at all of the people in the voters pamphlet they give you, and they've been doing something for a long time that's driven me absolutely insane. I don't want to have to go look them up online. I want to be able to see what I can see about them right there and then move on with my life. So there were a lot of candidates, and as I was reading, so I don't know exactly when this stopped, because I have always been a voter, but they stopped saying what party people were in, and I was having to go to Google and going, WTF, man, why are you making me do all this work? And having it, and then even then it was kind of ambiguous, and it's no, I don't want that. I want to know who you are and what you stand for. So now everybody in the dang thing was nonpartisan, which means nothing. But it did have pretty detailed bios of the people, which they didn't have before. Like, if you wanted to know anything more than R or D, you did have to go to Google. So it's an improvement, except that, and I know this is true of politicians, especially when they are trying to be one for the first time. You don't have a record as a politician. You've been doing something else with your life. So, I'm reading the bios and it's all, I was a teacher, I was a blacksmith, and I was this and that and the other thing. And I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. Like, it didn't give me confidence in any of them, except for the one that had been in government before. But I just had the thought, I know my area, and people that get elected here are Republicans. Like, I can't name a Democrat in this county that's been elected. So, then I went and looked the woman up, because she had been a council member, or she still is, or I don't know but she had experience on the city council. And then I went and looked her up, and she's like, not someone I want to vote for. Not saying she's a bad person, because, what I notice about this town as far as the local government is it's all about the local real estate. Like, that's what they're paying attention to. They're putting up like a hotel, like a Marriott, and I'm like, who's gonna go there? And there were like some old crappy hotels where the poor people were staying, and the homeless-ish people would go to, and they've torn them down and cleaned them out, and there were homeless around, and there was homeless living in this big, like, green park, and they're gone for the most part. Like, once in a while I'll see one on the freeway on-ramp, like, with a sign asking for money and a ride, because I guess it's been made plain that they're not welcome here, which is horrible. I don't want to get into that whole discussion, or I'll I'll never stop talking. So anyway, yeah, I don't want to vote anyway. Like, I hate it. It seems like a useless exercise in most cases. Even when the person you vote for gets elected, either they're not allowed to do anything that you elected them for, or they just like are a total turncoat and nothing they said happens. And so I'm real lukewarm on the voting, but I threw it in the trash, and then it happens this way every time I lose faith in it. I get some spiritual messages on, like, talking about voting. And then I saw, like, I threw it in the trash and was watching YouTube and saw 3 in a row talking about, you have to vote. Go vote. You must vote. Like, you have to vote. I'm like, okay, I'll vote. Jeez. Pushy spirits. Maybe I don't want to vote. Maybe the choices suck. And you know what I hear then? Well, maybe you should run. I'm like, no, I don't want to run. I don't want to be bothered with that. Then I'll have to be all talking to people all the time, and they'll be wanting stuff from me. No, I want to vote for someone like that. Like, maybe I could write speeches or something, but that's the extent that I want to be involved with that kind of thing. And also voting, but, like, come on. And I may be just yapping my jaw for nothing, because thank God there's a lot of young people that just hate stuff like I do. And I hope they just flood, every election possible. I don't know. I'm hoping my area will come around and, like, let one, like, someone from the left, because I'm neither Democrat nor Republican or any other of the parties that you can say you joined that basically amount to nothing. And I'm sorry that is the case. We were locked into this two-party thing, and God, how often do you hear, like, people don't like it? Like, there's people, almost everybody has something wrong with our election system, so the voting needs work. See, I'm rambling and I haven't talked about a single card yet. So I did that thing that I did the other day where I pulled a card I had already pulled recently, and Went to put it back, and I pulled the ballot out of the trash, by the way. That's what I need to finish, and I did vote, even though it's the last day that you're supposed to hand them, or the voting is tomorrow. We have mail-in voting, so as far as I know, I don't know, are there people that walk up and vote? I have to look up that. Anyway, let me get off that sidetrack. So, and then the card that I had already pulled, I put it back, and then I got another one, and it reappeared. I'm like, okay, I'm taking the card. And then I was gonna pull cards from the other deck, because I usually use 2 decks. I'll show them to you soon. The cards that came out while I was shuffling, there was 3, and I'm like, oh, it just seems challenging, like a lot of information that I'm supposed to figure out or whatever, do something with. So okay, let's see how it goes. And I know I'm on a timer here, so oh, hold on, I forgot stuff. Okay, I think I have all of the stuff. So the first card I pulled was Drifter. Just used this card, just came up the other day. But if you look at the top of it over the ship, that's the it I'm referring to. Where's my indicator? I guess I don't have all my stuff together. Come on, man. Oh, there it is. Well, anyway, there's this like misty stuff, and it just makes me think of the unknown, and that's kind of all I have to say about this right now. And then the second card I pulled was Sky Dancer, and it's Surrender. And it, you know what it just made me think of? It's not this insect on here. It's not a moth, but they're not the only animals or flying insects that are attracted to light. And I feel like that's what the surrender is about. Like, I mean, that's not a light bulb. That actually looks like the sun or something like it, you know? And this insect is like, you know, it's like I gotta give in to the dance. I can't worry about if it's gonna kill me or not. You know, if I back into the sun and fry, because it's some kind of ecstasy and surrender. And so the thing about it here, though, is I'm thinking of surrendering to what's upcoming. Like in the future, because I have just seen a bunch of stuff over the past, week and a half, 2 weeks, I guess, from various places that are talking about sort of bumpy roads ahead. I mean, there's I think 2 supermoon or 3 supermoon full moons this week. That's gonna be insane. That's like all kinds of your emotions just flipping back and forth, and wow, like I hope you can swim or float, because you gotta surrender in the torrent of emotional white caps. Fairy godparents. Sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but you're welcome. That's part of the drifter life, you know. You gotta just let go and surrender to it and experience life as it comes. But boy, maybe don't fight it, because I mean, I feel like that lands us in a more difficult place to be. And when I say don't fight it, I mean, I'm talking about resistance. Like, I'm going to explain what I mean by resistance, I guess, now. if you're going along in life and something happens, some obstacle that makes things difficult, I feel like if you don't like go limp and just surrender, like just let it happen, and kind of go from there and see what comes to you as it's happening, like if a bill comes that you can't pay, or you can't pay as fast as they would like it to be paid, you can't do anything else but do the best you can, do what you can. And so you can't, like, like, that's just it, like, that's the cards on the table. That's it, you can't do more. So the person you owe, the debtor, is that the debtor? Whatever, the person you owe can say and do whatever they are going to do, but, I mean, it's just the way it is. So, if you're going to fight back with that, like, if you're just going to be all freaking out, like, oh, shoot, the power's going to get turned off, or, God forbid, oh shoot, we're gonna get evicted, or something major in the car that has to take you too far to walk and too costly to buy a ride to work. Like, you just you're not helping yourself by freaking out. Like, you just have to be out. Okay, this really sucks, but now, okay, I can't change anything, so what can I do to help myself otherwise? Like, gotta experience life as it comes and surrender to the inevitable. So now I will read from the number 48, which numerologically, why can't I say that like a normal person? Anyway, breaks down to 3, or to 12, which is 3, which is symbolic of the divine Trinity. And I mentioned ecstasy. This insect is putting all of its faith in the belief that it's going to be fine, like that it's not going to drift too close to this sun-like thing and sizzle away. Okay. Oh. 14 breaks down to 5. Change. Like, that tracks. That's like, right? So, alright, settle down. Sky Dancers. Liberation from attachment. Surrender. When a sky dancer appears, she is inviting you to welcome the deepest power of the feminine into your life. You have already overanalyzed your situation to exhaustion. Now is the time to invite the sacred feminine, the wisdom within your heart, no matter your gender, to guide you to success. I mean, that's kind of like the surrender thing, or this is gonna sound like in the worst way for some people, but let me finish. Surrender and to submit. Not in the biblical sense to a man or someone trying to overpower you in some awful way. Submit to the inevitable, because why fight it? If you fight it, you're going to just make your situation worse. I have lived it. I'm sure everyone else has, if you just think about it. There's been some time where maybe you were infuriated, and maybe you were right to be infuriated, but you were like an ant trying to, talk sense to the wheel of a car. Like, you don't have the leverage in that position. So, poor little ant, what are you going to do? Go up to the wheel and try to push out against it? What if they start backing up and you're right there? Like, you want to avoid that kind of situation. To continue, if you have become earthbound, plotting and planning and praying for change, create and desist. Break the habit of being yourself, of repeating the same behavior and hoping for a different outcome. Stop trying to figure it all out. Stop overthinking it. Surrender. The sky dancers are heralding the arrival of a new relationship with yourself, in your work or your love life. Do not assume that this person or opportunity will rescue you. The only way to liberation is to kiss the ground goodbye and take flight. To rise above the fray and the drama of the struggling, arguing mind. The only way to liberation is to kiss the ground goodbye and take flight. To rise above the fray and the drama of the struggling, arguing mind. That wasn't any better. Oh well, maybe next time. Dance in the sky and view the madness below by simply witnessing the actors and the human comedy unfolding on the ground. You are transforming it. As you observe the drama, you unleash the power of the sacred feminine that allows for resolution. The sky dancers know the maps of heaven and the way to the holiest and most sacred spaces on earth. The way to come help you, they come to help you with your current life and, more importantly, to guide you to the realization of your own divinity. Okay. I feel like that tracks with what I was saying. So, why I was saying some of that. Two things. Before I watched this, and I didn't finish it, and I'm going to jump right back to it when I get finished here, but I was watching an interview of Seth Rogen. And, he's famous for being a puffer. And he is one of my he's absolutely one of my writing heroes. For so many reasons. And the man, I get cramps laughing from some of his stuff. So, not those kind of cramps, like a stitch you get from running, I guess it makes my sides ache, like that idiot quotation or saying. Anyway, he was talking about, I think the title of the video is Seth Rogen, I smoke weed all day, every day, and I was like, yes. And he is one of the most creative people out there. He's obviously not, it hasn't stopped his brain or creativity from functioning. And I don't know why I'm all, fired up about, leave the weed alone. So, I just thought it was funny that I saw that right before I started doing this, and what was in my mind was, I hope I don't become incomprehensible before I'm finished doing this recording. And then before that, I watched a new astrologer that I had never seen before, and I actually posted his video on my channel on the community section because he is an astrologer, and he talked about some of the things that I tried to talk about yesterday. And of course I left things out because I think I did stipulate that I'm just repeating something. And I hope I didn't, but now let me just say, not an astrologer. To hear somebody telling me this stuff, to watch a video, I can understand it. But then to turn around and try to regurgitate it or tell somebody else, I can get bits and pieces, so that's why I posted it. And I like his delivery, the guy himself. Stop it. Oh, I'm having a collapse. Ah! I'm having a contraption collapse. Excuse me. There. That's handled. So, okay. I also pulled... so those first cards, Doi. These guys came from this deck. These ones. And the cards that I'm going to talk about next I pulled from this here deck. There is the creator. So, and they were kind of the problem. That was the deck that I was shuffling that 3 fell out of, and I was like, oh no, I don't know if I can do this. But here we go. So, still talking about the astrologer and like the cards that I was reading before about surrendering to resistance. That's what was speaking to me when I was looking at those cards, because what he was talking about is what a lot of people have been talking about. Like I said, is bumpy times ahead, but he went into way more detail about how so that might be, how that might be so. So when I pulled this, I pull the cards before I do like this watching stuff. Although I'm getting to them earlier in the day, like closer to the time that I pulled them as usual, or at least I started messing with them. Anyway, now I'm just rambling. So, bumpy times ahead. Gotta have fortitude. Gotta know that we got it in us to get through those times. And, you know, not worry that it's going to be something that we are not equipped to handle. We are equipped to handle whatever we come across. That is our makeup, you know, and it's just the choices we make as to whether or not we want to pursue going forward if it gets rough, you know. Like, we do have free will, so we do have the option of maybe not plodding straight ahead. And I'm sure that they don't just like walk into rocks, but I'm just saying they're very determined, and you know, they can keep on going when, I mean, in the Clemane terrain. What would I try? I tried to say something that was crazy. Anyway, in the terrain that they live in, they're more suited to just be fine or better in it for longer than we are with our soft little. I have to live in a house with air conditioner and a flushing toilet and running water that can get hot without lighting a fire. And I know. I wouldn't want it any other way. I want to be prepared for the eventuality. I'm learning as much as I can about that. I always have been all my life. Not that I thought something bad was going to happen, but I think I just always... I couldn't camp for various reasons, and I don't know. Like, I get weird if I get away from the ocean for too long, or get weirder. It's been a long time. But it sustained me so many times when I was still living at home in LA. Like, I would go from Hollywood all the way to the beach just to put my feet on that sand, and even to just let the water wash over my feet. I mean, it just, like, the whole world would tip into a different place, especially like those after work stressed out days that I would have so often. It would just be like everything would just slough off that was bothering me, sort of like the sacrament. So the camel doesn't seem to need all of that. They have the strength and fortitude to just keep going, and that's, I feel like that's a quality not only to admire, but something to remember that we do possess. And you know, we can make a number of choices going forward when we meet some obstacle. And I just think it's like on some level we're completely aware of what we set ourselves up for. So if you're gonna blame somebody, remember start at home. So the next card I pulled was the Swan, and the Swan is mirroring itself, and I don't know, like for some reason that's hitting me like vanity. Although that's, you know, that's not an animal thing. Like they're not looking for mirrors to see how beautiful they are. They barely understand them. They freak animals out. If you think about cats and dogs in front of mirrors, do we as people have a shade of that too? Oh my god, why am I even asking that dumb question? Of course we do! If you can't stop self-fluffing, I mean, where are you going to do it? You got to have a mirror. What am I talking about? Let me read what the book says. Effortless creativity, sensitive mystic, elegant power. The swan represents heightened creativity to Hindu mythology. The goddess Saraswati, the embodiment of language, creativity, and artistry, rides on the back of this graceful creature. The swan is ready to take us there, to the fluid realm of writing, creating, and reflecting. This potent and healing energy is not to be taken for granted or taken lightly. When the swan card appears, your soul is calling for attention, for solo time. An inner voice is waiting to be heard. An inner vision is likely to be revealed. When in balance, infinite creative power, something we all possess. We just have to, if we're not already accessing it, I think when we don't feel the inclination to just do something that is commonly accepted as creative, like writing or, you know, making music or creating some type of art, I think that we kind of sell ourselves short in thinking that, well, I'm not creative like that, so I'm not creative. But we have so many rules, and there's nothing to say that, like cooking, that's an easy one. That can be very creative. Or the way that you show up at your job. Like, if you're like that dancing cop, then that's creative, you know? Or, well, there's a bunch of different dancing cops, and it's a creative way to kind of like break through with the public if you deal with them a lot. And I feel like that's why they do it, and that's like a pretty cool thing to do. Where was I? Oh yeah. When out of balance, agitated, snippy, lacking vision. To bring into balance, solo time. For myself, duh. Writing, it totally helps. So, obviously, the book is not talking about bird vanity. But I would say reflecting on yourself is not, I mean, not vanity the way I do it. It's not vanity the way I do it. I gotta, like, find that kind of rock bottom place where there is something that needs to be dealt with. And, I mean, going there and looking at those under the water places in the silt, which is, are you familiar with silt? The next time you're near a body of water, stick your finger in it and familiarize yourself with silt. It's a texture thing, but I don't know. I mean, it's like you're sticking your finger in decomp, basically. So think what you will on that one. And so if you're doing self-reflection, you like, I feel like if I'm doing it right, I'm gonna find the silt, and then I'm gonna have to dig around in it and get dirty a little bit to find, like, what is actually your actual problem. Like, why are you talking about me talking to me? Why are you doing this or acting this way or whatever it is? Like, I'm on the hunt for, like, things to clear. So as a collective, I don't think self-reflection is ever going to hurt anybody. And that's all I'm going to say about that. What did I write on here? Oh. Maze. Past image. Past image, that would be going back and looking at your at your silt. Okay, I guess, like, this wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I pulled the golden egg card, and there's some cards in this deck that they come under this heading. So this, I just wanted to mention that. I felt like I left it out other times when I've pulled these circle cards. So, golden egg. Well, I've talked about the gold and its connection to divinity. And also just that gold is precious, and so is an egg, which would be the representation of your precious child or idea or hope or dream. Something you hold dear, memory, of someone that is not around to hug anymore or something like that, or a time when you felt like the possibilities were endless. I think that is what this egg is representing here. And you notice that that nest is super snug for security. It's like that thunder jacket thing. Although, is the egg quaking? I think it may be throbbing, it may be vibrating, it may be emitting nice mists. That's what came to mind. Hey, I smell the sacrament and I'm not smoking anything. Anyway, that being here and there, wherever it is. Moving on. This egg is super surrounded close by the nest. And I feel like the nest is the protection of spirit and the layer of the egg, which, I mean, collectively is us. I'm going to read the book, see what it says about the egg. Golden egg. That almost didn't work. Message at the center of the heart. The unstruck sound. You know, I am going to interrupt myself as usual. When I don't talk about this enough. I always mean to, and then after I get done, I'm like, oh, I forgot to talk about that. I think one of the funnest things about the spiritual stuff, like when I first heard of this, I was like, oh my God, that sounds like so much work. I don't want to be bothered. And it was collecting the synchronicities, and then eventually you get good at it and it's easy, and then you start popping up for you everywhere. And so I don't say that anymore. Like, I don't think it's work at all. I think it's totally fun. And when they happen, whether I'm on here or anywhere, I don't usually have a bell handy or a chime. And so I always say ding to myself. And then today I remembered I actually have a chime. So, I struck the sound. I unstruck it. I struck it. Oh, you probably lost what the heck that was all about. So let me just repeat real quick the little bit that I already read. Message at the center of the heart, the unstruck sound. Within the egg lives a precious sound. And see, now I want to hit it again. Deep within that sound resides a message. The sound cannot be heard, nor the message discerned, until we retreat from the noise of modern day life. The magical essence of the golden egg needs warmth, quiet, and time to unfold. No rushing, pushing, or grasping. Find a place of deep and restful ease, perhaps through yoga, nidra, or meditation, or nidra, sorry. If you do not yet have a meditation practice, take some time for introspection. Take some time for introspection. Oh, jeez. Come back here. No, that's your head. I curbed myself on my counter yesterday, and I have, like, put my head down without backing up far enough a bunch of time and wrapped my forehead on here, too. Shh. Don't even say it. It doesn't explain anything. Where was I? The sound cannot be heard. You read that. Blah, blah, blah. If you do not yet have a meditation practice, take some time for introspection or contemplation. When the mind begins to settle and the breath is calm, ask the question that weighs heaviest on your heart, staying open to any response you hear. Engaging with the energy of the golden egg is an advanced practice. It requires becoming intimate with our very essence and comfortable with vulnerability. But more silt. When a feeling of tenderness or gratitude arises from deep within you, you know that you are well on your way. Well, geez, that's been happening like constantly. I can't even listen to music hardly anymore. Like all the time it's all making me want to cry, and that has been a hard thing to get used to, the whole like opening your heart and the loving unconditionally. It's I want to say it makes me weak, but I don't mean like powerless weak. It just makes me like want to go limp and weepy. I mean, even like thrashy punk rock is hitting some chord within me where I'm all, no, not ridiculous anymore. Anyway, so when a feeling of tenderness or gratitude arises deep from, good grief, should I take the dang teeth out? Hold on. When a feeling of tenderness or gratitude arises from deep within you, know that you are well on your way. Your chest may swell like you're seeing an old friend that's been away for a long, long time. Listen to the message they've been waiting to tell you. Adorable little picture. That's what resides inside of the egg. It's a McBaby. McBuddha. Okay. I think I better stop now. It's definitely kicking in. Thank you for putting up with my silly. Thank you and good night. Ow, hit my hand on the stupid counter. Bye.